I know, I could seriously go for another cup of coffee. Yeah, I don't know, there's something with, they call it ADHD, but honestly, um, I think it's just if you're someone that's what, like INFJ thing? Yeah, that sentinel intelligence. Yeah, and I came across an image online, there's like a group of brains, and then there was like one brain lit up or what have you. Yeah, it's like that. I know, I seen what's that one, some renowned musician did a video too. It's like a short. Yeah, it's like that. Like, you wonder why you always feel alone in a sea of people or some shit. Yeah, it's because it's the reality. It's pretty mind boggling. I don't know. Yeah, because it's like when you're. I guess more or less it's like it has to do with your bloodline and then like your. Obviously your life experiences too, but also like your soul. Yeah, so like just being, I guess, more or less an old soul in and of itself. So it's kind of like you're just always going to be that odd one out no matter what. Yeah, and it's like too, it's like I don't know, there's the thing you also realize too that everybody's on like a different consciousness level. And then I heard, what was it, via The Alchemist? Yeah, and there being like three main types of like beings or soul beings or something. Yeah, she mentioned that like a while ago. But yeah, it's like you just get so used to that, I guess. I don't know. It's like you're more or less just forced to, I guess, come to terms and like accepting that or whatever. Yeah, and it's like it is sad because it's like I don't know. Um it's like you're when you talk to people, yeah, it's like you're speaking a foreign language to them. Yeah, that's the other thing too. It's like it's not to say that you couldn't find or can't find things in common with people. It's not to say that you're not able to sort of like level with people at any given point in time or anything like that, but yeah, it's like for the most part, I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of like you're in a league all your own or a world all your own or some shit like that. But yeah, it's just too, it's you do get tired and you do get fed up of, I guess, always like hitting like a brick wall. I mean, not all the time, but I guess maybe more often than not, it was like hitting a brick wall with someone. Yeah, there is truth. There is not truth, but there is something to be said about that. Yeah, it's just like I don't know. It gets to like a point where you're just like, what is the point? It sounds so bad, but it's like you're just like, what is the point in like conversing with anyone, right? That's like not trying to understand you like at all. Or like they're just not capable of understanding you or like leveling with you or something. Yeah, it'd be like that. I just seen 417 or whatever. 420 too. Yeah, so like you think of like I think of like sacral chakra or some shit. Yeah, because of that. What is that? Meditative mind feed or whatever? 432. Yeah, it's like, I mean, the other thing is too, it's like you're dealing with, like, let's say narcissistic people or more or less, or they have, whatever, they're on the narcissist spectrum of things or whatever. Yeah, and it's like, you're no longer trying to, I guess, make them see things. or force yourself on them, or make them see things how you see. Yeah, because it's like you realize like there's nothing to be gained from it, and the other thing is too, you realize it's just wasted energy. Yeah, and it's like too, I mean, honestly, some people it's just like too, in the end of the day, it's like they are who they are. Yeah. Yeah, and it's like coming to terms in that realization too, but it's like you also know that it does, love is patient, or love has to be patient. I honestly think love is the only thing patient in the universe, actually. Yeah. I don't know, something came up recently, I just seen 555. Something came up recently with like dual nature heart that like came to me. God turns people exorcist. Yeah, but it's like not, it's it sounds bad, but it's not, kind of thing or something. And that was weird that like came to me today. This will be like random. Like I had done a video earlier and it wasn't half bad, and it was like a continuation on like the little video I did about how a reader was touching on another being individual of how other people eat, but like critical not, yeah, being critical of how other people eat, but not of themselves, basically, or that they themselves are like a poor eater or not up to par or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I needed to still continue, I guess, on that, elaborate further, but I had to delete the video because the next door neighbors were playing music, so I had to remove that because of copyright stuff or whatever I noticed. I'm learning still here or whatever, I guess, the territory and how they run things online or whatever. Yeah, it is what it is. Shit happens or whatever, you just, correct the mistakes and shit. In real life time, but yeah, the sloth creates illusion. When you're moving at sloth speed, so to speak, turtle speed, or like periods of time where you're like procrastinating or being sluggish and stuff, the narcissists mirroring one another will create an illusion of like you not taking care of yourself at all. Yeah, because of just periods of time where like you're taking on their eating habits, whatever they might be, and they may not be like per se like the greatest or whatever. So, i.e., like eating potato chips or something as an example. Yeah, or like eating more bread or grains or stuff that's not like per se the greatest or whatever. Or it's like processed food and stuff, kind of thing. Or is that gluten? Yeah, like shit like that. Or, poor quality meat or shit like that too. But, or milk, or too much dairy. Yeah, I know there's like all that stuff going on. But no, that creates all that still, yeah, creates an illusion of you not taking care of yourself. Yeah, because I had been doing stuff on my own terms, going through the motions of my own spiritual journey for, I'd say, easy like 5-6 years or so. So I know it was before even I met my current husband. So it was even before 2017. Though when the time that I met him, I was still doing, was it drugs and alcohol and stuff. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, he was the reason, and pretty much, that got me to quit doing drugs and alcohol and abusing, I guess, substances or whatever. Yeah, I know EBH and Quantum Shift mentioned that the use of drugs is drugs and or alcohol, really. So you think of like spirits and or entities, but in particular demons. Yeah, they mentioned that in the collective before. And because the light, it's like the higher dimensions hitting the lower dimensions. It's so drastic when it happens. So yeah, um it's kind of like demons and or entities go into like a feeding frenzy kind of thing, and they start wanting to like practically they are attacking you basically, or latching onto you and stuff and making you like do all kinds of shit. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty weird. I don't know, especially when you use the drugs. It just basically you just become a portal basically. Yeah. So, but I mean, when you think about it, if you yourself become a portal, I mean, that means you can get all kinds of stuff, right? Really. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's not automatically, I guess, negative, but, you know, in a sense it is. Yeah, so I mean, I remember when things were coming at me quite a bit, and granted, I was, because of the drugs, I wasn't in the right frame of mind, and some substance I had done basically caused me to be like, I don't know, kind of like delirious or something. 11:11. Yeah, I remember this was the time I was driving up north to Flagstaff, and I ended up driving into the middle of nowhere. It was like on the outskirts in like a woodland area, just strictly completely woodland, like basically pine trees. Yeah, and on the way I had stopped by a liquor store, and I was like just trying to like drown myself in alcohol and shit, but it's actually, I think a big part of it was I was trying to get myself to like come down off of the drugs, because it was making, I would say, like, I would say my nervous system on fire kind of thing. Yeah, and or inflamed too. So I mean, that actually makes sense, because it's kind of like you're trying to like use a downer to like calm your nerves or something. Yeah, I know that was like a big part of it too. So I don't know, it's like, everything's a matter of perspective too, right? Different layers and sides to things or whatever. But yeah, I ended up driving randomly out in the middle of nowhere. Granted, mind you, I was like driving all over the place many, many, many times for a while there, on and off. Yeah, having like no destination whatsoever. Yeah, I know the EBH people talked to me about like me spreading around like the indigo freaking aura pixie dust or whatever, and yeah, I like caught myself doing that. Yeah, so it is what it is. You are who you are. Yeah. Um, but no, I went up to the woods for like no reason, like no reason beknownst to me, and I was like holding like this white crystal crucifix rosary or what have you, and I kept saying stuff like, stuff having to do with Christ and stuff, and I mean, I was just completely like out of my mind. Yeah, I was like, you could tell it was just like complete desperation and shit. Like, I was literally like calling out for like help, dear help. I was calling out for help for dear life. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I just like completely was just like, oh my god. Yeah, and I remember like I was trying to like walk through this like wire fence thing or whatever, and I don't know if like they stopped me part halfway or something, or like here, like, because I pulled my Nissan Sentra in like the middle of like this two-way road or something like that, and so the construction workers ended up, I want to say, helping me out, and then they ended up having my car towed, and they ended up escorting me to the hospital in Flagstaff, so like downtown or near downtown or something like that. Yeah, and I remember they ended up like giving me something in my arm, but I don't know if like they gave me morphine or what exactly. But yeah, it's like I couldn't even like, so basically, in other words, like the fact that they like asked me, I was completely out of my mind. So I was basically like, to the degree of in actuality being incoherent. Yeah, like incoherent. So maybe it's I was in a mental state in actuality of incoherent, let's say, mirrors unconscious. It's incoherent is the in between conscious and unconscious. That's interesting. This is coming to me right now, actually. So I have an experience with it or whatever, but yeah. But yeah, they it's kind of like things just go crazy when things finally meet one another, so between the higher dimensions and the lower dimensions or whatever. But no, like I was initially saying in regards to diet, and I had posted a video and did a video earlier, but I had to take it down because of the copyright claim in regards to the music that was playing in the background, but was coming from the next door neighbors. In actuality, it wasn't like me having anything to do with me putting that music in whatsoever. Yeah, I know it's like not even like the type of music I listen to or anything like that. Yeah, 1616. So going back to like what I was initially talking about in regards to people needing to see past the illusions that are created by not only yourself but other people when it comes to, I guess, diet. So like I said, the narcissists mirroring one another, mirroring each other's eating habits, whether good or bad. You also got emotional eating still going on. Why you eat, so people eating to find a sense of comfort is another thing maybe people need to think about that aren't aware of that. You also got parasites too. You also got like your something with cravings and your taste buds is another thing. And then people eating whatever's available because of financial issues or whatever. Yeah, that's the other thing too. I'm trying to think what else. Also, not wanting to waste food. Like I said, I can relay the information, but people can just have their own experiences with it. Trying to think what else. Some people need to, I guess, research Caroline Dooner. She did a book called the Fuck It Diet book. I haven't read all of it. I've only read parts of it, but it touches on stuff in regards to yeast in there that I'm sure can help benefit especially women in the collective, and realizing that it's not all what they think or what they've been told to believe. Yeah, like 1818 on the clock. Not like looking at it as like this, like it there's just something about paranoia, so I picked up on paranoia spells possibly. You could say there's also neuroticism and OCD going on there. You could say a paranoia stemming from, having unprotected sex and having a genuine reason to be paranoid as well. Yeah, that'll do it. Two. I don't know. I heard people talking about like root work, so I don't know. Like, I ended up, and then also, being, needing to check your female parts because the thing is too, like, especially if you can't afford to get checked or looked at. 1919. Yeah, I mean it's a lot of different things, so it's kind of like people can be perceiving too, like you checking, I guess, like your cervix is like you playing with yourself. Yeah, like for instance, myself, I don't know, this is like TMI here. It's not going to concern anyone and everyone at any point in time. Yeah, but it's like people can interpret that as like you playing with yourself, but you're not. Yeah, not to say that you haven't before, but I know for me it was like a while ago or whatever. But yeah, I pretty much did like the Chinese, what is that? Wash. So I bought like two different kinds. One of them is essential oils. It's got a picture of like a Chinese young emperor male on there. And the other one is got like that green color 2020 on the phone. Yeah, and I just put a little bit in the bathtub or whatever. And I know they say to like mop your floors too, to make like a habit of that, to help with like any sort of like root work people may be doing, whether intentional or unintentional. Yeah, I know. It's like you never know, so you just like play it safe or whatever. But I don't know, a little TMI here. Maybe I'll put up a warning on the video too when I post it. But yeah, so the other thing I was talking about, yeah, when you're stuff with narcissists or whatever, yeah, it's like I don't know, people still like taking offense to like you just asking questions. Yeah, like and the thing is too, it's like dealing with an individual where like you can't talk to them about certain things because like for one they're just not interested. Yeah, or number two, they're just not as open-minded as you are or something. So like i.e. for instance like manifestation or even Nikola Tesla or like 369, like even all that stuff, like real magic. Yeah, I know. It's like you can't even like fully, completely, like actually talk about that stuff because it's kind of pretty much like you're realizing, like, pretty much, no offense, like you've been around someone that's fake. Yeah, I know, and it's interesting too. It's like not to say like I myself haven't worn a mask at a period of points in time, right? And it's not to say like that I hadn't still been fake at times for periods of times, right? Yeah, but it's like when you realize like who and what you're dealing with basically like in the matrix reality, like as a whole and on like a soul level. Like I'm talking more along lines of like that. Yeah. So they have to think of like the difference between like, I guess like the Heyoka Wetago meets like the malignant narcissist turned spiritual in order to build character. Yeah, I know. So it's kind of like too, it's like, and then you're dealing with someone where they betray you to become their true selves. So basically, their sexuality is being asexual. Yeah. Yeah, it's like deep. It's like think of it in terms of just like alchemy and math, and then people figure it all out. I guess like their true selves or like their actual like sexuality or like how they identify and shit like that. Yeah, it's like actually really deep. Yeah, and it can and will differ. So I don't know, like maybe people need to hear this from me or something. Yeah, so like not to, I guess, like feel bad about that because it's like, yeah, it's like you are who you are and you become who you become because you're preserving yourself, which will differ from person to person because of math and alchemy and your coordinates and shit, cosmic coordinates. Yeah, because it's like, what is that? How God and parts of Source had set things up from the get go, basically, which is true. Yeah, I know. It's like once you figure all that out, it's like everything else just like falls into place afterward, pretty much. But yeah, anyway, it's like, so the conversation I had was basically just asking him a question like, how's, the stuff with PayPal or what, with work or whatever. And it's just like, someone just quickly like getting on the defensive and like, oh, well, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah kind of thing. Yeah. And I'm just like thinking to myself, like, oh my God, like, yeah, like, there's just no point in having any conversation with them at all. Yeah, it's like that, like obvious. Yeah, and you just basically step back and you're just like, fuck, I'm not even bothering. Yeah, because it's like It's wasted energy. And the thing is too, it's like they're not it's kind of like you're dealing with someone that's very simple minded, and when they're like it's all about them. So it's kind of funny when people are saying, like, with me or with Aries, right? Like, it's all about me or something. And then I'm looking at them, I'm like, are you sure you people, like, really truly know and can tell the difference between shit? Yeah, I know. I'm like, I be like taken aback and shit. I'm like, wait a minute, like, you people actually can't really tell the difference as much as they think that they can. Yeah, I know, because too, like, you got to look at people as like individuals. You got to look at them as everything, their bloodline, their genetics, their life experiences, their cosmic coordinates, all kinds of shit, right? Well, that's the thing, like, I hadn't started putting myself out there until like recently or whatever. Yeah, because like you get so blinded by love and lost in love. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened to me, like, being like innocence in that sense, not in every sense, right? Yeah, I know, because, we all know innocence is not just innocence. Yeah, I know. Um, yeah, it's like you get lost in the person because you fell in love, so you lose yourself. Yeah, so it's like you have to reclaim yourself basically from losing yourself by had allowing yourself to fall blindly head first into love, unconditional love with a person, only to be what. Yeah, I know, it's like betrayed because I guess pretty much they're, I don't know if they're forced to, in a sense you could say, in another sense they're not. They do it willingly and shit. Yeah, I know, you're not gonna ever hear that shit from those people though. Yeah, I know, there be readers still working within the matrix too and being like, oh, we can't tell you this or that or whatever. And then the freaking reader in the collective has the audacity to be like telling me, like, acting like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Or like I don't have any, acting like I don't have spiritual authority. I'm like, they will gaslight you like no problem. It doesn't matter whether, even readers, yeah, they gaslight you. So they're not, it's kind of like they're not trying to like acknowledge you, like, you as a being that of like how much like resonance you hold, like how much value you hold, or how much like truth you hold, like all kinds of shit. Yeah, they're not gonna be like, oh yeah, you're the embodiment of the indomitable spirit, like they're not gonna do that. Because they're, when you have dealing with people that are so set on like positioning themselves in a position of power and authority, whether it's over you or anyone else at any given point in time, in order for them to have a stance to begin with. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like, that's when you're like, oh, click. Yeah, I know. It's like I even still be like, let's just not even talk about like my genetics or my gender or like anything like that. It's like, even in today's day and age, someone like myself is basically still ahead of their time, which is correct. Which I already got clarity from another reader about that a while ago. Yeah, so it's like, basically, in other words, it's like you are still, in even in today's day and age, someone that's speaking a foreign language. Yeah, if you're like an INFJ or truly like an authentic person, yeah. Yeah, you're always going to be the odd one out and shit. No matter it's like who you're around. But I don't know, it's like I'm sure like can't be like the only Heyoka. Like I'm not gonna be like that fucking egotistical and narcissistic to be like, I'm the only one, blah blah blah. Like, no. Yeah, I know, because of the 144,000. So I'm assuming really more or less it just has to do primarily with the 144,000. Yeah. It's like all we have is each other in the universe, basically. It's true. Yeah, and it's like, it is a big deal, and it's like, even though, like, people have made, like, this thing to, I guess it basically went into this just big fucking feeding frenzy, like no tomorrow. Yeah, I'm just like, what the fuck? Yeah. By the time you realize, like, who you really are, and, like, actually, like, fully step into your, like, who you are and your truth, and, like, reclaim it back. 30/30 on the phone. But yeah, no, it be like that. It's like you're not. Yeah, you get tired too. You get tired of, I guess, being just like, what is this, like, sex object and shit like that. Yeah, I mean, all kinds of shit or whatever, but I don't know. People say, oh, stop complaining. It comes with the territory and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know. They'll say shit like that. Oh, but you do, like, it's kind of like, it's just the fact of the matter is, yeah, you get tired of feeling alone. You do. It's like you have to come to terms admitting that fact that even around people you feel alone, because it's like you are alone. So it's like you're having to, like, actually admit to that to yourself. Yeah, in order for you to, like, I guess, be able to even, like, go about your day-to-day life, even, I guess, like, okay or something. I don't know. That's what it'd be like, yeah. But I mean, it's not to, like, get attention, or just, like, looking for handouts and sympathy or anything like that. Yeah, it's just to, like, speak on things, or speak on your truth, because by doing that, yeah, it's like it can help other people. Yeah, so I don't know. There's maturing and growing to do. It's always the case, right? Blah blah blah. Even for myself. Oh, 32, 32. People wanting to cut each other off over, like, not having anything to show for, or some shit. Okay, so I will share something real quick. So, like, let's say, for instance, like, I'll use myself as, like, a example or whatever. My posts are only going to concern certain people. They're not going to concern anyone and everyone. Some stuff, info may be too much TMI, to each their own. And people are not forced or obligated to listen to me for any reasons whatsoever. People that gravitate to me, I just will look at it as are meant to gravitate to me, kind of thing. Yeah, I know. And then, like, call it a day and, like, move on. But okay, going back to what I was trying to initially get at here. So I'll use myself as, like, an example, or, like, point of reference. So, like, people wanting to cut each other off because they don't have, like, things to show for, right? 33:33 on the clock. That would be an indication that people are materialistic. Yes. And that would also be an indication that people only value people for what they have. So, in other words, they don't actually value people for people. They just value people based off of what they can get from people, is correct. So, what people value, that's what people value. Mind you, there are people that know how to appreciate, I guess, more than that, or value more than that, or even, let's say, can eventually become capable of it. But I guess that is something, I guess more or less overall is, like, yet to be truly, I guess, actualized and seen for its entirety or some shit. Yeah, it's like something like that. Um Something about being too used to also like dog eat dog lifestyles and survival mode, and it becomes to the point where it's like, no offense, it's like I think honestly for some people that just works best for them or something. Yeah, I don't know. It's like kind of like that saying like you just are who you are. But I don't know. People have to, I guess, have like there's something to be said about having zest for life. There's something to be said about wanting the finer things in life. But there's also something to be said about people just believing in people. So there's a lack of people believing in people. There's a lack of was it something with the heart chakras? Yeah, and there's a lack of acceptance in wanting to be open-minded, and there's a lack of acknowledgement. So it's like if you're dealing with a person that's in denial of themselves, whatever it is, they are going to be in denial of you. So you're right, it wouldn't matter what you do or what you say, or like let's say like how much you prove yourself. If they're not in the business to be open-minded, let alone capable to begin with, they're not going to be able to see you. So I'll use myself as example yet again to the point that I was really trying to get at. Um, the fact that I have been putting myself online, yeah, and basically to some, I guess it's not deemed, I guess, doing the work, or it's not deemed of to be work. Speaking your truth, or, putting yourself out there, stuff like that, right? Or having like aha moments and like sharing it with people. Yeah, it's like I've already been witnessing, I guess, in real life time, which is true, my ability to manifest. So like even if it's like quite a bit, so I'm getting like quite a bit of likes on things here and there or something, but it's maybe not like all the time or something. Yeah, it's like that's still indicative of something. So it's like, and being still getting like followers and stuff like that. So it's kind of like the people you're around basically like they're gaslighting you and they don't want to acknowledge you. It's really sad. 3737 on the thing. Yeah. It's because too, like, they're not going to acknowledge you unless you're popular, basically. So if you're not popular, they're not going to acknowledge you. So basically, that's more or less how it works. But the sad thing about it is too, by the time they truly acknowledge you and want to embrace you, yeah, it'll be too late. Yeah, because if they start to do it on your come up, yes, that'll speak volumes about who and what you've been dealing with. Yeah. Oh, what people realize, yeah. I know. Or the people that just flocked back to you because you come into money too. Yeah, I know. It's bad. Yeah, it's still I don't know. People even in today's day and age are still what I would call simple-minded, shallow, superficial, all that stuff, materialistic. Yeah. It's like literally like we're needing to put humanity back into humanity. Literally, I know. I mean, let's face it too. I mean, you have healers. This is not me trying to talk shit or anything or shade anyone. But it's like, yeah, you have healers, mainly what, in tarot and whatnot, or they do Reiki or sound healing or different stuff. Yeah, but it's like, to me, it's like, yeah, to me, a true healer, yeah, would be doing things just out of the kindness of their own heart. Yeah, so it's kind of like, it's not to say that they're still not doing healing work. I don't want to go so far as to say that they're not a true healer still. You know what I mean? Yeah, but it's 39:39 on the clock, so things are doubling. But there is something to be said about a true healer still being, I guess, someone that just does things out of the kindness of their own heart. So, I mean, I don't even know if that necessarily per se even really exists anymore, in a sense. Yeah, because everything's been built off of the was it fiscal monetary system and all that? Yeah. But I don't know, it's like, I've gotten so used to doing things on my own, being alone. But, I mean, I've been basically more or less gravitating to, I guess more or less people more like me, actually. Yeah, I mean, with when it comes to the readers and whatnot online, so it's like, despite people, I guess, being in competition and all that stuff, it's like, in all honesty, in the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I mean, they're the people I have most in common with as opposed to anyone else in, existence, pretty much. Yeah, I don't know, it's interesting, I guess, to say the least. Yeah, when you start to just like step back and like really start to like examine yourself. But yeah, it's like you're dealing with people that, they drag their feet in the mud when it comes to, I guess, reflecting and self-reflection. Yeah, it's like they don't understand the cosmic mirror, let alone, if they do, then they're doing it like covertly or looking at things covertly. Yeah, if they do. But I mean, as far as like I'm aware, like they're not into the cosmic, looking in the cosmic mirror, I guess, like I am or something. 4141, place it where it place it where it goes, place it where it goes, where it's supposed to go or whatever. But yeah, no. Yes, I don't know, share some, I guess, more random information and stuff. Castor oil. Yeah, so like I'll mention stuff. Yeah, and like for instance here, to give people an idea, so share some like what been dealing with. So like here's a book I bought used from like Amazon a while ago. Yeah, the oil that heals. I haven't even read it yet, right? So I have this here, of course, Heritage, right? Castor oil. And I have another brand. I don't know what the name of the company is offhand. But, I had like a discussion with him, randomly mentioning castor oil, and he just quickly was like, "Oh, that's bad. That's toxic." Like all this shit. Just like, I'm like, "Oh my god." Yeah, it's like somebody constantly basically just like, you're just being yourself and like mentioning things you're interested in or whatever, right? Yeah, and then they're just quickly just like, "Oh, well," dismissing it. Like basically as if like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah, that's how it is with the narcissist. I know it can be with either male or female. Yeah, but it's like basically just it. No offense, it's like literally like you're beating your head against a wall with someone. Yeah, I know. It's like it's not reciprocal. It's like hitting a brick wall, like a blockade or something. Like not literally bashing your head against the wall, but you know what I mean. Yeah, 4333. So yeah, it be like that, from time to time and shit. I'm just like, oh my god. Yeah, it's just like, what is that, pointless? Really? I don't know, but I guess it's like the building blocks of consciousness and reality, all of the fabric of reality in and of itself. Yeah, and you start to realize, like, oh shit, we wouldn't have anything to talk about if it weren't for this or that or whatever. Yeah, I know, like, when that shit start to hit you, you're like, what the fuck? Yeah, I know. But I don't know. Be fucking crazy. Be crazy. Yeah, but I be getting my downloads and random aha moments stuff. I just be doing my own thing like I have or whatever. But 44. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not passing or trying to pass judgment on anyone doing like three ways, but or shit like that. But yeah, I picked up on like people wanting to do trines or something. Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, something came up. There's all the bizarre love triangles. Yeah. And I don't know. It was like, I'm like, man, it made me realize too, because what is that? Multiple soulmates too? Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, all of reality is just flat out depressing. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like, I get it, like, should be working for people or whatever, like, it is what it is, but I'm just like, what the fuck? Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, I started to, like, acknowledge, like, literally, like, the Martian within me and shit. 45, 45. Yeah, I was like thinking of Big Red more and more, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, that's like, yeah, you start to be like, wow, that's actually really cool and shit. Yeah, I know, because you're like, oh, he's like selfish as shit. Yeah, like you start to really, really like just embrace and just love like who you are, and you're like, wow. I know, you're like you shouldn't be made to feel bad because of like who the fuck you really are, like your parts of you or whatever, like whatever your truth is. Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, like it's good to be selfish. Yeah, like depending on like how it like manifests or whatever, right? So yeah, I mean it can manifest still positive or negative, but like being selfish with yourself in regards to like loving yourself, no. Yeah, like whatever you are, and like wanting to find, I guess that monogamous relationship or what have you, like I don't know, it's almost kind of like it always, honestly, yeah, it's like it always got like a bad rep. It's true. It always got a bad rep, or like it's kind of like it was given a chance but not really given a chance. Yeah, because of like, what is it? You think of the story of Adam and Eve and like Cain and Abel, and then like you think of like whatever's like gone down in societies or like civilizations and cultures at large. Yeah, it's like you realize like, oh shit, like no, it was never actually given a chance and shit. Yeah, I'm just like, meh. Yeah, I'm just like, you know what? Like that to me, it is the saddest thing. It really is. It really, really is. It's the saddest thing when you don't give yourself a fair chance to begin with, or you're not allowed that. And you know what, like even me, it's like I might have looked at choice initially as evil and this and that or whatever, but I'm like, you know what, yeah, it's like you need this, people need the spaces to learn and grow, they need the spaces to see themselves, they need time to look in the mirror, like all kinds of shit, right? Yeah, and I'm just like, man. Yeah, I don't know. You start to, I guess, really, really think differently about everything. Oh my god. I'm trying to think maybe some other stuff I should touch on. Oh, so give people an idea. Yes, what made me more accepting and whatnot of melanin, yeah, was my mom and her mom, yeah, and like her dad, and I would say an aunt or two or something. Yeah. Yeah, so like they were the reasons that made me more accepting and understanding, and you could even say like loving. Yeah, and even being able to get along with, in a sense, more because of the melanin. But because of that too, it like, I guess, yeah, you could say that that enabled me to be more accepting of like different type of cultures and people. Yeah, 49, 49. Yeah, because it's like when you're yeah, it's like when you're with someone that's so dedicated and hardworking and loving, yeah, with the family, yeah, I mean, things, yeah, will just happen, just naturally after that. Yeah, and it's like with me, it's like things just got, they got interrupted. Yeah, and I realized too, it's like, but I also, you know what, even now as I look back and whatever, there is still things for me to learn. So it's like, I don't know, as much as like I want to just completely point the finger at someone, right? Because of a cause and effect scenario. It's like at the same time I can't, because it's like, the love made me blind, completely blind, which is true. Yeah, so it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like it is what it is or whatever, but it's like you can't go back in time and shit. So it's like you still have to, I guess, accept your part in whatever you played and things too, in that sense, yes. Yeah, and then, I guess at times too, I wasn't, what is that? I wasn't judging Gemini fairly or whatever, like thinking he's what, gay or whatever. Yeah, I know, like a reader mentioned that in the collective or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, it did make me more accepting and understanding. Yeah, and it actually, I know a reader mentioned I have a lot in common with my mom. Yeah, and I wasn't like thinking about that for a while, but then when they mentioned it, I was like, oh shit. Yeah, like because I ended up sharing her equal disdain for like certain types of like European females is correct. Isn't that crazy when people be like looking at me like, "Oh, you're so white girl," and looking this and that, and then they realize and they take a closer look, or they'll hear how I talk at times or whatever, and they'll be like, "Oh, wait a minute." Yeah, I know, it's like it kind of like sneaks up on you and shit. But yeah, I know I already got clarification too a little bit ago in my prejudices issues and shit. Yeah. So, I know it's like I'm not the only one. Other people were working through shit too or whatever, but it is what it is. Oh my god. But yeah, my mother's mother, it was easy for her. So on the melanin, so you think Native American? Yeah, so Native American, Mexican, all that. Yes, they were creative, so I'll give people an idea. Yeah, so like my brother's very creative, so is my sister, so is my mother and her mother. So they're all good at art or stuff with the arts. Yeah. Um so like they were the ones that were open about talking about when it came to anything with the paranormal. Yeah, or like the other side and stuff. It wasn't ever, I guess, like you weren't ever looked at as a person having mental issues or mental illness or anything like that. And my mother's mother, who was born March 3rd, so Pisces, I was born March 23rd, which is on the cusp of Pisces and Aries. Yeah, she's a little woman or whatever. She got struck with polio and stuff. Maybe I post pictures up, change it periodically, and people can see or whatever. So, very just um, classic. So very classic Mexican, Americanized Mexican though. Yeah, cause my grandpa, Domingo or whatever. Yeah, Domingo Chavez. I want to say his father or something with Agapito or something name. I heard of some name Diaz too in the family or something other than Chavez and Agapito. And Falcone was another name mentioned, but I know some people in the collective were saying like, I know they're saying like my mom was evil or like shit like that. Yeah, I know. She did embody like the white light though. So from my third eye psychic visions. 54, 54, yeah. But her mother, the little woman, right? Yeah, the Pisces. She confided in me early on. So like I don't know, it seemed like I don't know if she would tell my mom or whatever, and then like my mom would tell me, but that apparently like she favored me over like my sister or something. Like my sister like annoyed her or something. So basically like she must have picked up on early on that I was like an old soul. Yeah, and like the human body. And she did mention about something about like the back of my head or whatever, and like something interesting about it or something. I don't know if it was like similar to someone that she knew or like in her family. I know there is two, like there's like a lot, the women had like these French names or something, which was interesting. But anyway, yeah, she confided in me early on. So when I was like a little girl. Yeah, she was the one that teach me to sew. And then my grandpa John's confided in her a lot. And then I also was closest to my grandpa John's, which he before he passed away, he taught me how to use guns. Yeah, and like a shooting range or whatever. This was like out in Belvedere, Illinois or whatever. But he also was taught me how to use puzzle boards, and then to cook cheesy eggs. So like I learned that from him. Yeah, so that's why like it was irritating me in the recent past, because out of all the times like in my life, because like I had a best friend, for like the longest time, and like we were able, probably out of like all the people I've ever met in my life, other than maybe two of the exes I've had, actually. Yeah, now that I think of it, I have not been able to get very deep with my current husband. That's actually kind of sad. Yeah, on like really, I almost feel like he doesn't know what it's like, I guess, to like talk to people that aren't shallow. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, he's not used to people like that. Or he's used to like having to like constantly like protect himself and not able to express himself or some shit. Yeah, something about people needing to build characters still or two. So I was like, I don't know, like maybe I've had more time to build character or something. I don't know. 57, 57. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because too, like from what he's told me, he's actually had more traumatic life experiences and real life experiences, whether it was like overseas or like dealing with dysfunctional family members, and even what is that, like drug dealers and shit, stuff like that. Yeah, and being like in physical fights and physical altercations. Like I know he's been in more had more experiences than me with all that. Yeah, so it's kind of like I would say that, I guess, creates the illusion of like having character or something. Yeah. Yeah, because if they're a malignant narcissist turned spiritual, then yeah, like they haven't even despite their real life experiences or whatever, they still, I guess, haven't, I guess, developed it really yet or something. That's interesting. Yeah, I know. Shit, I know. I be talking and stuff will be coming to me as I'm talking. Yeah, no joke. Um, I'm trying to think of something else. Cusp people are more dynamic, yeah. So something about that. So I'm like on a cusp, Pisces and Aries. He's on the cusp of Gemini and Cancer. Yeah. Trying to think. Yeah, so about going back to, she would tell me stories, I guess. Yeah, all the time. I guess like my mother would get like fed up with her. So she didn't have patience for her because, she heard it so many times or whatever. But my grandma would talk to me, Grandma Andes or whatever. Yeah, Josephine Andes or whatever. She would talk to me, and yeah, she would tell me stories about like seeing the devil and shit. Yeah, and there'd be like scratches on people or like scratches on the wall, like all kinds of like crazy shit. I know my mother had I don't know what you would call it, dark witches. Yeah, on the Mexican side of the family, yeah. So I want to say, I don't know if it was like her father's mother or like, some other female, uh, yeah, relative or whatever, but something about her getting kidnapped. Yeah, and like held hostage, and I don't know if she was doing like some crazy weird like rituals or witchcraft or some shit like that. There is like a readers in the collective that mentioned before, like my mother Dewey had done root work on me for like so long or something. Yeah, I did hear about that. I'm trying to think what else. Um, yeah, going like back, so like the time, because there was like basically like two downward spiral periods I had. So kind of like you think of like going back to the time I met my husband in 2017, and then you have to fast forward. That was my dark night, or like before, right before that. That was when I had my dark night of the soul. Yeah, it's like different for everyone. Everyone's like on different timelines or their own timelines when it comes to spiritual awakening or something. Something maybe? Oh, that's interesting. I just thought of that. Then yeah, going from the age of Pisces into Aquarius, so that's why you got like people are looking at me as just like a hoarder or something, or like collecting too much stuff that I don't need, or like extra stuff or something. Yeah, but they're thinking of like maybe like you're just materialistic or some shit like that, right? But they're not looking at you from like a doomsday prepper perspective though. Yeah. So there's something going on with that. But fast forward to the second time I had like I would say it was like spinning out of control, basically. So like chaotic. Um, was the time the year or so, I would say year or two, that my mother was helping me and my husband financially. Yeah, and being very much people pleasing and like basically like being very generous and helping us out. Yeah, when it came to the silver, or when it came to helping us pay our bills or whatever, yeah. Before she passed away, yeah. But I had mentioned to her, like, aren't you like worried or whatever, like, you're don't you think you're doing too much, or like people pleasing or being too generous and whatever, and she's like no or whatever. Yeah, it's just like I'm just like trying to clear the air, that's all or whatever, and speaking my truth. Yeah, because it's like I just don't care to be I guess judged anymore for stuff. Yeah, especially too when it's like there is something going on and off in the collective, I guess, towards me, of like making me the bad guy or wanting me to be the bad guy, or people wanting to just look at me as the bad guy. It's not like people are like obligated to like humor me or listen to me or whatever. I mean, let's face it, like I'm not I'm not going around like listening to anyone and everyone all the time myself. Yeah, it's like I'll just be like listening to like, granted I listen to like random people at a given point in time though, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it's like I can only be, I guess, like I don't know what I want to call it. I can only be like so hard on people in comparison to like how I act or how I react or how I conduct myself, right? Yeah, so it's kind of like you're realizing like you can only, I guess, judge other people as much as you're willing to judge yourself or something. Yeah, and also too, like, realizing what is that, the world's your oyster and shit like that. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know, to like share some info on me to like whomever is curious that this truly genuinely concerns, but I'm still learning, right? I've, been taking notes or whatever, though some people deem me not doing work, unfortunately. Yeah, even though I've been spending more time on myself and studies, and just even just you being able to speak up for yourself and stand up for yourself to begin with is a milestone in and of itself. Yeah. Yep. But not everybody's going to, they're not going to tell you that or whatever, per se, or whatever. But I know the other thing is too, something about people's online persona versus like how they are behind closed doors too. Yeah, so there's something to be said about that and how that can differ, I know. Um in the people that they're around, yeah. So shit like that, yeah. Oh yeah, I know people need to give themselves permission to just like not like people, and like that's okay. Yeah, but it's like it doesn't mean like, to be nasty to them or whatever, right? Yeah, I know, to like be mindful about that. It's like still treat people how you wish to be treated or whatever. But I don't know. I guess it's interesting to say the least in the day. There's like so much shit going on. Yeah, I'm like, man, I need to just give myself permission to be like selfish. I never gave myself permission to be selfish. Yeah, it and it's crazy because it actually takes a lot for you to just admit anything to yourself. It's like to admit anything to yourself. Like, yeah, like you think of like yourself as in layers, right? Yeah. It's something about reality needing to sink in and all kinds of shit. Like, I don't know if there's like something about like your physical brain and like your physical body needing time or more time to process stuff that's like metaphysical or something. Yeah, and like not being hard on yourself about that too. But yeah, I don't know too. People are also putting themselves online more and more because there's something to be said because the people that they're around are not they're not interested in the same things you are. So it only makes sense. So like, yeah, if you're like along the lines of a Heyoka, even if you got Wedigo meets Heyoka, it still doesn't defeat the fact of the matter is of being a Heyoka still. Some people believe in empath supernova, some don't. So, I'll just throw that out there. But yeah, it still doesn't change the fact of you being an INFJ thing, which is true. Yeah, so it's like I said, like certain people are never going to understand certain things, and then you got the old soul stuff too. So, it is what it is. But, and however you are mathematically and alchemically and shit or whatever. But anyway, a long one here, but glad I redid it. Shalom.